If you want to come to Canada as a skilled immigrant through express entry, your first step is to submit your profile to the express entry pool. There is no cost to creating an express entry profile.
This video is a step-by-step instruction on how to create your express entry profile correctly and avoid common errors that may ruin your chance of getting invited or cause the refusal of your permanent residence application.
Step 1. Get your documents ready.
Before you can submit your express entry profile online, you need to prepare the following required documents: passport or travel document, language test results, and, if you're applying through the Federal Skilled Workers Program, or you want to get points for the education you got outside Canada, you need to get an educational credential assessment report for immigration purposes. You don't need to upload these documents to submit your express entry profile, but you may need information from these documents. To be eligible for express entry, you must prove your English or French language skills by taking an approved language test. For English, you can take IELTS General Training Test. Please note that the IELTS academic test is not accepted for express entry. You can also take the CELPIP General Test, and the General LS test is not accepted. For French, you can take TEF Canada,
Test d'évaluation de français.
Your test results must be less than 2 years old when you complete your express entry profile and apply for permanent residence. The express entry profile is valid for 12 months. Make sure that your language test results are valid for the same time period. If your test results expire soon, you should retake the test and update your express entry profile with your new test results. Now you are ready to submit your express entry profile. Excellent. Let's go to Step 2.
Step 2. Create or sign in your IRCC account.
To start the process, let's go to the official website of the Government of Canada, www.canada.ca. Click Immigration and Citizenship. Click Sign in or create an account to apply online. If you can't find this link, click the link in the description below. You have two options to sign in the IRCC account. Option 1. Sign in with your GCKey user ID and password. Option 2. Sign in with your online Canadian banking information. Let's talk about Option 2 first. If you have one of these bank accounts, click your bank and then enter your online banking information. Accept the terms and the conditions. Now create your security questions. You will need to answer one of your security questions each time you access your account. You will have 2 tries to answer the question. If you can't answer the first security question, you will be asked another one of your 4 questions. If you can't answer any of your security questions, your account will be locked and you will not be able to recover it. You can save these security questions and answers in a safe place in case you forget them. Now you've signed in your IRCC account with your online Canadian banking information. Here you can apply for visitor visa, work permit, study permit, and express entry, etc. If you don't have a Canadian bank account, you can use Option 1. Sign in with your GCKey user ID and password. Your GCKey can be used to access multiple Government of Canada online-enabled services. If you don't have a GCKey account, you need to register one first. Click Register with GCKey. Click Sign Up. Accept the terms and conditions. Create your username. Your username must contain between 8 and 16 characters, no special characters, and may contain up to 7 digits. Now create your password. Confirm your password. Now create your security questions, answers and hints. They are used to help you if you forget your password.
You can set a recovery email in case you forget your username or password. Enter your email and confirm it. Now check your email. Enter the confirmation code here, and continue.
Now let's continue to create the account.
Enter your given name and your last name as they appear on your passport. And then enter your email address. Choose your preferred language and click Continue. Now create your security questions, answers and hints. They are used to help you if you forget your password. Again, you'd better save the information in a safe place. We've talked about the two options to sign in the IRCC account. Now we can submit the Express Entry profile.
Step 3. Submit Express Entry profile.
Click Apply to come to Canada. If you have already completed the Come to Canada or the Express Entry wizard, you would have received a personal reference code. You need to enter your personal reference code to begin your application. If you don't have a personal reference code, you may answer a few questions here to find out if you are eligible to apply for Express Entry. If you are eligible, you can start an application online. Click Express Entry. Select the province you plan to live in. Click Next. You can save and exit the questionnaire anytime and continue it later. Here you can see the profile you haven't submitted yet. You can continue working on it. You can see the days left to submit your profile here. If it's expired, you can create a new one. You can also delete this profile and start a new one anytime. Let's continue profile. Click Next. Now submit your language test results. You need to submit language test results for all programs under Express Entry, even if English or French is your first language. If you don't have a language test result, you are not eligible to apply for Express Entry.
After you've finished your language test, you can continue your profile.
Select the language test you did. Click Next. Enter the date you took the test. Click Next. Now enter your scores. Click Next. If your first official language is English, then the second official language is French. Vice versa. If you didn't take your second language test, select None and click Next. In the last 3 years, how many years of skilled work experience do you have in Canada? It must have been full-time, or an equal amount in part-time. Full-time means at least 30 hours per week. If you work part-time, for example, 15 hours per week for 24 months, then it equals 1 year full-time work.
You can work as many part-time jobs as you need to meet this requirement.
If you work full-time work at more than one job, which means at least 30 hours per week for 12 months, at more than one job, it is still counted as 1 year full-time.
To be eligible to apply for Canadian Experience Class Program, you must have at least 1 year of skilled work experience in Canada in the last 3 years before you apply. If you don't have skilled work experience in Canada, you might still be eligible to apply for Express Entry under Federal Skilled Worker or Federal Skilled Trades Program. Once you've submitted your profile online, IRCC will figure out which immigration program you're eligible for under Express Entry. Now let's say you have more than 1 year skilled work experience in Canada. During this period, which national occupation classification level is most of the experience in? Based on your answer, you appear to be eligible for Express Entry. Click Continue. Now enter your last name, first name, gender, date of birth, and your marital status. If you are applying for immigration through the Express Entry system with your spouse, you are going to be scored differently from single applicants. If your spouse or partner is not coming with you to Canada, or they are a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, you will earn points as if you don't have a spouse or partner. Now enter the last name, first name, gender and date of birth of your spouse. Now complete each form for you and your spouse. Click Start Form. Click Next. Select your country of birth and enter your city of birth. Here you cannot modify the information you've entered. If you've made a mistake and want to modify it, click Next and then or Save and Exit. Now click Modify Family Information. If you've made any mistakes, you can correct them here and then click Update Information. If there are no mistakes, you should still click Update Information. Here you can change your marital status. Now let's complete each form. Click Continue Form. Next. 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 Enter the information of your passport or travel document. Click Save and Add. Here you can see the passport information you just entered. If you've made any mistakes, you can modify them here. If you don't have a passport or travel document, you can still create your Express Entry profile. Just enter the information of your national identity document. Now click Next. Have you applied to Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada before? If you have applied for study permit, work permit, visitor visa, immigration, or any type of visa to IRCC before, you should select Yes. Have you applied for Express Entry before? If you have created your EE profile, but you haven't received the invitation to apply yet, or if you have received the invitation to apply, but you rejected the invitation, then select a No. If you've accepted the invitation and submitted the Express Entry application, but your application was refused or you withdrew your application, then select a Yes. Enter your Express Entry file number here. Your Express Entry file number starts with the letter E. If you have applied for Express Entry more than once, enter all the file numbers here. Now enter your unique client identifier if you have one. Your UCI is on every official document you get from IRCC, such as your study permit, work permit, visitor visa, or visitor record, etc. Select your country of citizenship. If you have more than one citizenship, you should add them all. Select the country of residence. Click Next. How many family members do you have? This includes your spouse or partner, your dependent children, and their dependent children. You should count all of them even if they are not immigrating to Canada with you. Do not include your parents or any other relatives. If you don't have spouse or partner, or any dependent children, put 1. How much money will you bring to Canada? This is very important if you are applying for Federal Skilled Worker or Federal Skilled Trades Program. You must prove that you have enough money to support yourself and your family members after you arrive in Canada. There is a table showing the minimum amount you need to immigrate to Canada. If you have more money, you should list the full amount in your Express Entry profile and keep your funds up to date in your profile. This table is updated every year. To stay eligible, you may need to update your settlement fund numbers in your Express Entry profile. The link to this table is in the description below. You don't need to show that you have enough money to support yourself and your family if you are applying under the Canadian Experience class, or you're authorized to work in Canada and you have a valid job offer, even if you apply under the Federal Skilled Worker Program or the Federal Skilled Trades Program. Now let's continue the form. Do you have a relative who is a citizen or permanent resident of Canada? If you or your spouse or partner who is coming to Canada with you has a brother or sister who is a citizen or permanent resident of Canada, you can get additional 15 points. Your brother or sister must be 18 or older and living in Canada. Your brother or sister can be your biological or adopted or stepbrother or sister. Now we've completed the personal details. Let's move on to contact details. Select the language you want to communicate with IRCC in. Provide an email address to receive the correspondence from IRCC. The email address is not necessary, the same as your account email. It's important to check this email every day, including the junk folder. Now let's start the form study and languages. Enter the information of all university, college, vocational training, and high school education you have finished. Start with your most recent education. Select the field of study, enter the start date of the program. If this is not your current study, enter the end date of the program and the number of full academic years you completed. You must be in class at least 15 hours per week during the academic year to be considered full-time. This includes any period of training in the workplace that is part of your studies. Canada will allow online learning to count for express entry points for international students unable to attend universities and colleges in person due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In an announcement on the Federal Express Entry website, Ottawa says those studying for degrees, diplomas, and certificates between March 2020 and August 2022 qualify for Canadian educational credential points if completing all or part of their program via distance learning from outside Canada or through part-time studies. Previously, online learning did not count for any express entry points. If you completed your studies and you received a certificate or diploma or degree, choose Certificate or Diploma or Degree Awarded. Select the country, the province, and the city of study. Enter the name of your school. Select the level of education. Select if you were awarded a Canadian degree, diploma, or certificate. If you were awarded a degree, diploma, or certificate in Canada, enter the designated learning institution number of your school. You can find this number from IRCC's website. Select the province your school was in. Search the name of your school here. Copy the DLI of your school and paste it here. If more than half the study program English or French as a second language courses, you might not get points for Canadian education. Did you study in Canada based on an award that required you to go back to your home country? If you are not sure if this applies, contact the group who gave you your scholarship. Did you complete at least 50% of the study or training program's courses through in-person learning? In-person learning means you physically attended classes. Did you study in Canada for at least 8 months in order to earn this degree, diploma, or certificate? Study in Canada means you were physically present in Canada as a temporary resident while studying. Your time studying will only be recognized as in Canada if it was authorized by a study permit. Did you study full-time for at least 8 months to earn this degree, diploma, or certificate? The definition of a full-time study varies between learning institutions and programs. Your school's definition should be used when answering this question. Again, if you completed any part of your study or training program during March 2020 to August 2022, your responses to these 3 questions will not affect your score. But still, you should provide accurate responses. Click Save and Add. Now you can see your school information here. If you've made any mistakes, you can modify it or delete it. Again, you should add all your high school, university, college, and vocational training education here, because IRCC will use them to calculate your score. Once you've added them all, click Next. Can you communicate in English and French? Select Language Test Version. Enter the date of test results. Enter the test results certificate number. Save and exit. You don't need to complete these forms in order. Now let's start the representative form first. Do you want to appoint a person to contact IRCC on your behalf? If you want to appoint an immigration consultant or lawyer as your representative, enter their last name, first name, and email address. The email address is important because IRCC will send all correspondences to this email. Also, you need to ask your immigration consultant or lawyer for their regulatory body ID number. You can also appoint a friend or family member. Select No if you don't want to appoint any person. Now let's start the form application details. Select the province you consider living in. Select Yes here, so that you will have a chance to get invited to apply for express entry under Provincial Nomination Program. If you have received a nomination certificate from a province or territory, select Yes. Make sure that the province you consider living in is the same as the province that you have received the nomination certificate from. If you don't have a nomination certificate, select No. Save and exit. Now let's finish the last form, work history. Enter the NOC code for your primary occupation. Your primary occupation is the job you have experience in and want to base the immigration application on. If you don't know what your NOC is, click here to find your NOC. Now we are still using the 2016 version of the National Occupational Classification. On November 16, 2022, IRCC is switching to the 2021 version of NOC. Enter your job title in the Filter Items field. You can see the related codes and titles and skill level of each code here. Choose the closest match in the list. If you couldn't find your NOC code, click Search page of the NOC website. Search your job title and find the closest match in the list. Here we can see the sample titles and the main duties of this NOC code. Make sure the main duties listed match what you did at your job. If they don't, you will need to find a different job title with duties that match yours.
Choosing the correct national occupation code, which corresponds with your work experience, is a critical part of your express entry application. Choosing the wrong NOC code could result in your application being refused.
Now enter the code here. Date you became qualified to practice in this occupation. If your primary occupation is the qualified trade, enter the date you became qualified to practice on your own in Canada, for example, the date you got your license. For any other job, this is the date you first obtained the minimum education or training stated in the NOC description. For example, for a graphic designer, a university degree or a college diploma is required. So, enter the date you got your university degree or college diploma. Do you have a certificate of qualification from a Canadian province or territory? If you are in trade occupation, you may get additional 50 points if you have a certificate of qualification. A certificate of qualification lets people work in some skilled trades in Canada. Only the provinces or territories can issue these certificates. To get one, you must have them assess your training, trade experience and skills too, and then pass a certificate exam. Do you have a job offer in Canada? A valid job offer will give you additional points in the comprehensive ranking system. A work permit on its own is not a job offer, even if it is an open work permit. A job offer is valid if your current or future employer has made a written offer to give you a full-time, non-seasonal job for 1 year or more. If you are accepted as a permanent resident and has a positive Labor Market Impact Assessment, LMIA, from Employment and Social Development Canada, or the job is LMIA exempt. This is true whether you are working in Canada or not. When you create your express entry profile, include the LMIA number to show that you have a valid job offer. Select No if you don't have a job offer in Canada. Now provide the details of your work history. You can start with your current job. Input your job titles in your EE profile exactly as they appear in your reference letters, for all your past and current jobs. They don't need to match any title in the NOC list. However, the NOC details of your chosen NOC for a particular job should match the roles and responsibilities of that job. Enter the name and the address of your company. You must have been working on a valid work permit or exempt from needing one. Studying full-time while doing this job? Student work experience doesn't count towards the minimum requirements for the Canadian Experience Class or Federal Skilled Trades Program. Student work experience gained while you were studying in Canada or abroad may count towards the minimum requirements for the Federal Skilled Worker Program if it meets certain requirements. Which of these categories does your job fall under? If you have an open work permit, select Work Permit Required, no LMIA required. If you have a LMIA, select Work Permit and LMIA Required. Now add other jobs you have had in the last 10 years. You don't need to put all your work experience in the Work History section. The Work History section should only include the jobs you want them to look at to determine your eligibility and earn you points. Once you get an invitation to apply, you'll be asked to provide a reference letter for each job included in your Work History section. These reference letters are critical to your express entry application. So don't include any jobs that you are not able to provide a reference letter. Once you've finished adding jobs, click Next. The following questions are about your education and work experience recognition in Canada. Your answers will not affect your application. You can also choose not to answer these questions. If you select Yes, you need to answer all the questions. Now we've completed all the forms. Click Continue. Select I agree and I agree. Type your name. Answer the security question you set up earlier. Click Sign. Click Transmit.
Now you've successfully submitted your express entry profile. Congratulations!
Exit questionnaire. Click I accept. Answer the secret question and continue. Now you can see the profile you have submitted. You can withdraw this profile or check the status. Your profile is pending. You will receive a message when your profile is in the system. Click View your profile. You must make sure that the information in your profile stays true and accurate at all times. You must update your profile if your situation changes, for example if you start a new career, gain or lose a job offer, get a new language test, get married or divorced, have or adopt a new child. You can use the Update Form buttons to modify the information you submitted. You can also revert the changes. Now click Continue. You need to sign again after updating the information. You should receive an email after submitting your express entry profile. Each time IRCC sends a message about your application, you should receive an email. Now let's sign in the account to check the message. Here shows that you have a new message. Click Check Full Application Status. You can see which program you are eligible for and your overall score. Here you can see all your messages. You can download all the messages by clicking them. You will receive a message if you are invited to apply. So don't forget to check your email every day.